report, he's probably going to build a similar report using Power BI. I mean, using the data, the HR sample data. And you know what? You're absolutely right. I'll say that again. You're absolutely right. So let's do this. Let's get rid of the majority of the data from that report. And I'm going to say alumni affairs. I am going to come there and I'm going to delete it from the model. So as I delete it from the model, anything that's associated with this particular table called alumni affairs, it's going to pretty much show a blank screen or some type of error because that data will no longer be available. So I deleted alumni affairs, which knocked out these two visualizations that were here. I'm going to delete the IT department because the IT department is data we're not using. I'm going to delete that. Say yes. University data, I'm going to delete from the model. Say yes. So now all of the data is deleted. So now, me thinking, I'm like, how am I going to use this data if it's no longer available? We'll see here. So I think we had 2 column charts, a pie chart, and a bar chart. So what I am going to do is, athletic data. I want to delete that as well. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And career placement, I'm going to delete that as well. Now, if you look up here, we're going to have one little deal left that kind of looks like a calculator. It's going to have alumni affairs, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to keep that table right now. The reason why I'm going to keep it because this little calculator thing, this really shows me calculations, and basically I would have to rebuild this particular calculator in order to build out calculations for HR sample data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this here, and then I'll delete this later when I start building out a couple of calculations, if that's cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this first visualization that we have, and I see that it is highlighted on the column chart. So I know that that's a column, and I'm looking over here, and if I highlight over this, it shows me it's a stat column chart. So I'm going to delete that data that's in there, and I am going to come down to, let's see, absenteeism. I am going to come over, I'm going to say ID, and I am going to use the absenteeism, and that's going to give me the ID it's showing me now the ID is basically a column, and the ID is basically telling me each individual. So if I come back over to our table view, and I see that we have employee ID. Well, everyone has a separate employee. If you can think of ID as a social security number. So basically, these are all the social security numbers. These are all the different individuals. They're identified by an ID number. So this employee ID, if we look at employee ID, we can see what the days absent per year by employee ID. That's a visualization that we can create. Now I'm going to come over and I'm going to delete. I see that this is a stat column too. I am going to delete the information that was originally there, and I'm going to use employee ID again because that's helping me to identify who is who and what we're trying to measure. And we're going to say compensation competitiveness. Now, there's several different ways that we can, with the data that we have, we are able to look at this in several different ways. But what I'm going to do here is I'm looking at the bar chart. I'm going to remove the information from the bar. Again, I want to look at employee ID because we're only looking at it by person. and I am going to say, dun, 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 dun. Let's look at this again. Let's look at employee ID and time to fill position. So we're going to come back over, and I'm going to say time to fill the position. Now we see that this is being demonstrated as a bar chart as opposed to being a column chart. I believe we had a pie chart here. So we were looking at employed, grad student, unemployed, but I'm going to take all of those out because that was for a past document that we didn't need, that we're not using currently. So now I am going to, let's see, we've got values, training percentage, diversity percentage, engagement score. So this is what we're getting when we create the pie chart for, I'm going to remove all these cards that we had. These are the visuals that we're getting when we create the pie chart for our human resource sample. Now, understand what we're looking at is only samples, only sample data. So, let's see, let me get rid of that. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to show you is now you've got a visualization tool. You've got a visualization tool that you can create, that you can use to create, to really enhance what you've got going on inside the HR department. I.e., now you're creating visualizations that you can present to your managers or to your senior level managers, to the C-suite guys, because now your ability has gone to a whole nother level. It's more than just reporting. Now you're reporting the visualization. Now you say, well, I get that information from, I can submit this and I'll get this from another department. Yeah, that other department is probably the tech department. The other department is probably the tech department. I don't really like these colors. These colors are bothering me. So what I'm telling you is now you can take you can build a skill set to, you are the tech. You're a human resource tech. You're a human resource tech as opposed to, I'm not going to say just being HR, but your skill sets now have gone to a whole nother level. Your skill sets have gone to a whole nother level. You're more than just HR at this point. Let's see. But again, let me just give you other ways that you can measure here. So let's say we use a slicer, and a slicer would be using, I don't want to use that one. I think that's the new one. I don't like the new one. I like the old one. This is the old one. So with a slicer, I can bring the slicer up here, and now I can measure by individual. And we want to do a drop down. Let's see, let's go to format, slicer settings, between, we want to do a drop down. So now, if we just want to see employee 1004, right? Now we're only looking at employee 1004. We have his absenteeism rate. We have, now, so we can't really tell what's going on here because we don't have any titles on here. So let's do this. Let's come back over to format, general, titles. We're going to call that employee status. Why is it not showing there? Let's see. We're going to call this format, general, title, employee status. Can't really tell what we're measuring here. And I know some of you guys are like, well, I can't tell what he's measuring. What are you measuring there? For some reason, I took all that out. So let's delete that pie chart. Well, let's go back because I didn't know what I had in there. We've got training, engagement, and diversity. So I'm going to remove it. I'm going to recreate it. And I am going to use diversity